Before I start this video, I want to give a huge thank you to Ashley from A Frog Through Fiction for gifting me this amazing jumper / hoodie for my birthday back in May. I'm only now able to wear it, but it was worth the wait. I'm never taking this off again. Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. Today I'm going to go through 22 upcoming middle grade books that are coming out between October and December, essentially Q4 of 2021. I do a video like this every quarter where I talk about some really exciting middle grade books that I'm personally excited for that are coming out in that 3-month time period. There are loads of middle grade books that are coming out, of course, so I'm not going to be talking about every single book that comes out during this time, but I do have a spreadsheet which I will link down in the description box so that you can check out other releases in the same time, as well as other releases that came out in 2021. Hopefully I will be able to entice you to get these books by what they're about, as well as showing you the gorgeous covers of these books. But before we get into it, don't forget to like this video if you enjoy it and subscribe for more content. Without further ado, let's get into it. So firstly, coming out on October 5th is Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. This is probably one of the biggest middle grade books to come out in this quarter, because obviously Rick Riordan is the author of the Percy Jackson series, Heroes of Olympus, everything. He authored everything. So Anna Descartes is a freshman at Harding Pencroft Academy, a 5-year high school that graduates the best marine scientists, naval warriors, navigators, and underwater explorers in the world. Anna's parents died while on a scientific expedition 2 years ago, bless her, and the only family she's got left is her older brother, Dev, also a student at HP. Anna's freshman year culminates with the class's weekend trial at sea, the details of which have been kept secret. She only hopes she has what it'll take to succeed. All her worries are thrown out of the water when, on the bus ride to the ship, Anna and her schoolmates witness a terrible tragedy that will change the trajectory of their lives. But wait, there's more. Oh my gosh, sorry guys. Professor accompanying them informs Anna that their rival school, Land Institute, and Harding Pencroft have been fighting the Cold War for 150 years. Now that Cold War has turned up to a full boil and the freshmen are in danger of becoming fish food. In a race against deadly enemies, Anna will make amazing friends and astounding discoveries about her heritage as she puts her leadership skills to the test for the first time. I don't even know how I would summarize that myself. Honestly, it's a little bit of a, well, even reading it out was a bit of a tongue twister, so there's a lot happening in this book. Really excited for it because it is Rick Riordan. Yeah, it sounds like really good, and that's the first book on this list. Next out on October 7th is Following Frankenstein by Catherine Bruton, and Catherine Bruton wrote No Ballet Shoes in Syria and Another Twist in the Tail, which was like a bit of an Oliver Twist kind of sequel-ish thing, which was really good. Sometimes I was jealous of the monster of Frankenstein. I grew up believing my father cared more for him than he did for me, and was I wrong? Maggie Walden's father has dedicated his life to a single pursuit, hunting down the monster created by Victor Frankenstein. It has cost Maggie and her family everything, and now her family is taking everything on one last voyage to the Arctic, with Maggie secretly in tow, where he hopes to find a monster at last. But there they make a shocking discovery. Frankenstein's monster has a son. Sounds really, really good. On October 14th is The Christmasaurus and the Naughty List by Tom Fletcher. So I think this is the 3rd book in the Christmasaurus series. I read the first Christmasaurus for Christmas last year and I really enjoyed it. It was very festive. So this one is essentially just following the same characters. We have this kind of creature thing that is like dinosaur, like a Christmas dinosaur essentially, that our main character comes across. And in this one, we have the Christmasaurus on a mission to find the people who are on the naughty list so that they can help them right the wrongs that they've caused, so that they don't have to be on the naughty list anymore. So it just sounds like so magical and so festive and fun, and I love stories like that, honestly. So yeah, I still need to read The Christmasaurus and the Winter Witch, which is the 2nd book, and then this one, but I don't think you have to read them in order after the 1st book. I don't know. Don't let me put words into your mouth that aren't true. Another Christmas book that is out on October 14th is The Christmas Carrolls by Taylor-Bessent. This one has an exclusive Waterstones edition with these sprayed edges with like fairy lights, like Christmas lights on them, and oh my god, it looks gorgeous. Wish it could be Christmas every day? Well, for 9-year-old Holly Carroll and her family, it is. Living her merriest life in a house with year-round fairy lights and Christmas trees, a carol-singing toilet, and a diva donkey who thinks he's a reindeer, homeschooled Holly tries to spread cheer wherever she goes. But when she goes to a new school, with a singing Santa backpack and first-day Christmas cards during heatwave in September, she realises not everyone shares her enthusiasm for spreading cheer. In fact, when the neighbours try to remove the Carrolls from the street and Holly discovers a group of children that may not get Christmas at all, the snow globe world begins to crack. Is the world's most Christmassy girl about to lose her Christmas spirit? Definitely so something that I think will be perfect to read in kind of like more November, December. I mean, it comes out mid-October, but maybe, you know, for Believathon, or maybe, you know, for Christmas reading, Christmas Eve reading, who knows. It sounds like it'll be really, really magical. So yeah, there's that one on October 14th as well. On October 19th, this is an American release of a book that came out in the UK last year, and it's one of my favourites, is A Kind of Spark by Elle McNicoll. So if you are living abroad internationally from where I am in the UK, then this does come out in America on October 19th. And it's going to be in hardback. Love the cover for it. I will definitely be getting myself a copy of it. But A Kind of Spark essentially follows a young girl called Addie, and she hears about these women who lost their lives during the witch trials that happened in her small Edinburgh village, and she wants to sort of make a mural for them, and she really sympathises with these women because she sees a lot of herself in how they were kind of misperceived by a lot of people, and it just makes for this really heartwarming and impactful story that I love with my whole heart. So yeah, if you are in America, do pick it up. October 19th, it looks gorgeous, and it is a beautiful book. On October 26th is The School Between Winter and Fairyland by Heather Fawcett, and honestly, I love that name. That title is incredible. It just sounds so magical. And Heather Fawcett wrote The Language of Ghosts, which I really enjoyed, as well as Ember and the Ice Dragon. So Heather Fawcett is a really good voice in middle grade. 12-year-old Autumn Millog is a servant at the enchanting Inglenook School, where young magicians study to become the king's future monster hunters. Along with her gran and too many older brothers, she works as a beekeeper, tending to Inglenook's menagerie of terrifying monsters. But when she isn't mucking out the wyvern stalls or coaxing the resident boggart to behave, Autumn searches for clues about her twin brother's mysterious disappearance. Everyone else thinks he was devoured by the feared hollow dragon, but Autumn is convinced she's heard and glimpsed him calling to her from within the castle walls, but who will believe a lowly servant? So when Kai Morrigan, the chosen one, prophesies to one day destroy the hollow dragon, comes to her for help, Autumn agrees on one condition. Together they'll search for her brother and uncover the dark truth at the heart of enchanting Inglenook School once and for all. Looks incredible. I absolutely love the cover of this one as well. You're going to hear this a lot from me, but middle grade books do have some of the most enchanting, magical, illustrative covers you will ever see of any book ever. So yeah, I absolutely love the sound of that one. Out on the same day, on October 26th, is The Bookshop of Dust and Dreams by Mindy Thompson. It's one of those titles that, honestly, it just inspires some kind of like magic within yourself, and just like The Bookshop of Dust and Dreams. It's almost like a YA kind of title, because you do say that a lot in YA, but as a middle grade, I love the name of it, so yes, I'm all for it. It's 1944 Sutton, New York, and Poppy's family owns and runs Rhyme and Reason, a magical bookshop that caters to people from all different places and time periods. Though her family's world is ravaged by World War II, their customers hail from their past and their future, infusing the shop with a delightful mix of ideas and experiences. The shop runs on a set of rules handed down from one generation of bookseller to the next, with their cardinal rule the more strict: shopkeepers must never use the magic for themselves. But then Poppy's brother's best friend is killed in the war, and her brother wants to use the magic to save him. Young Poppy is caught between her love for her brother and loyalty to her family, all the while knowing that her brother's actions could have devastating consequences that reach far beyond the bookshop, feeding an insidious, growing darkness. Oh, I love it, and especially since I am a bookseller and just bookstores in general, there's something so inspiring and magical about it that I just think I'm going to fall in love with this one. Also out on October 26th is The 13th Hour by Quinn, Sosna-Spear, and this one seems to be like a Neil Gaiman kind of invented middle grade. 12-year-old Rosemary has been an artist her whole life and especially loves drawing the incredible places from her Aunt Jo's stories. But illustrating the stories doesn't mean Rose believes them. And when Aunt Jo gives Rose a pocket watch with instructions on how to use it to access magical dream worlds, Rose just thinks Aunt Jo is being peculiar again. While Rose is sleeping, however, she enters a fantastical place where each hour of the pocket watch takes her to a different world. There, Rose befriends a trio of outcasts with special powers and joins their war against the ominous Tall Man. When a bully steals Rose's watch, she can only look on in horror as dream and reality collide, and he's sucked into the 11th hour. Now Rosemary must gather magic from all 12 dream worlds to rescue the boy, who makes her life a living nightmare. Out on October 28th is The Shadow Prince by David Anthony Durham. This one is described as a middle grade solar punk novel set in an alternate ancient Egypt. I'm sold. I'm sold. Growing up as an orphan in a remote village in the Egyptian desert, Ash's life is pretty ordinary. Sort of. He spends most of his time working in irrigation canals and avoiding bullies, but he has also been secretly trained by his mentor Yizin for some great purpose. Yazin has never said what it is until now, the night before Ash's 12th birthday. According to Yazin, Ash was born on the same day as Prince Khufu, which makes him eligible to compete to be a prince's shadow, which makes him like this kind of bodyguard for him. Ash doesn't really believe Yazin, but when a floating royal barge driven by solar-powered sails arrives to take Ash and his mentor to the bustling, magical and solar-powered capital, things get real. There are 5 days of dangerous tests, each overseen by a different Egyptian god. However, not all will survive, which will bring some really high stakes to this world. And I just think it's going to be really good. I love anything to do with ancient Egypt or Egypt in general. So yeah, I think I'm going to really enjoy this one. Also out on October 28th is The Ice Whisperers by Helenka Stachera. So when Bella's mother dies, she is summoned to deepest Siberia to stay with an uncle she's never met. Exploring his strange scientific workshop, she uncovers a secret she was never meant to find. A doorway that opens to an icy land, frozen in time and full of legends come to life. But this frozen land is in danger and it's up to Bella to find a way to save it. To succeed, she must join forces with the impossible, a long-lost sister she never knew she had, born 40,000 years before. So we have that kind of like time travel aspect of it, we have the frozen aspect of it with the like sisters, and oh, it just looks so good and like perfect to read during winter time. So yeah, that's another one to look out for on October 28th. Also on October 28th is the Very Merry Murder Club, and it's like an anthology book that was edited by Serena Patel and Robin Stevens, and it does feature a load of really great writers in it as well. So just a couple of my favourites, you know, Benjamin Dean, Elle McNicoll, and so many more are in this collection. So essentially it is, I think, just crimes set during Christmas time. Yeah, snow-covered wintry journey of Christmassy crimes, festive foul play, and murderously magnificent mysteries. So it just sounds really good, and you know, each story is written by a different children's author, so they'll each bring something new and original to this kind of anthology series. So I'm excited to read it. It looks really good. It's going to be hardback, so it's going to look fantastic on the shelf. Out on November 2nd, and just after the Halloween period, is Vacancy by K.R. Alexander. So it's going to be like a middle grade horror, but the only thing I can find out about it, like the only summary that's available for it, is the latest chilling fright fest from horror master K.R. Alexander, this time centering around a spooky hotel where guests do not check out the way they check in. The house on the cover looks a little bit like Bates, like Psycho kind of vibes from it, you know, the house that the Bates live in, and obviously like the whole Vacancy, Bates Motel kind of vibe as well. So I don't think that's probably the case, but just judging from like the very little that we have on this book makes me think it might be a little Bates Motel-esque. So I'm excited, especially since it's middle grade horror, so I think it's going to be really, really good, and yeah, it's just going to be surprising because I genuinely know nothing about it. Out on November 4th is Fledgling by Lucy Hope, and this one looks like a gothic kind of dark middle grade, which I love me some gothic vibes, so this is gonna promise that. A cherub is blown into Cassie Engel's bedroom during a thunderstorm, triggering a series of terrifying events. Cassie must discover if the arrival was an accident or part of something more sinister. With a self-obsessed opera singer for a mother, a strange taxidermist father, and a best friend who isn't quite what he seems, Cassie is forced to unearth the secrets of her family's past. As the dark forces gather around them, can Cassie protect all that she holds dear? It says that this adventure is set deep in a Bavarian forest with angels and owls and magic and a boy who isn't all that he seems to be. Gothic vibes is probably going to be enough to make me buy this on day one, and yeah, November 4th for that one. Also out on November 4th, and very highly anticipated by me, is The Chime by Ross Montgomery. Ross wrote The Midnight Guardians, which came out last year and was one of my favourite middle grades of 2020, so I have high hopes for this one. It does look really good. It has that whole dark fairy changeling vibe to it. So in this one, an evil fairy steals Yanni's baby sister and swaps her for a changeling. Yanni is swept into a dangerous race against time to get her back. But fairy's delight in tricks and rescuing her won't be easy. With the help of his cousin Amy and the reluctant changeling, Yanni must travel to goblin palaces and battle-swept oceans, discovering ancient treasures and secrets along the way. Like, it sounds so adventurous. I love things to do with like kind of folktale creatures like fairies, changelings, goblins. Oh, it just sounds so good. So yeah, that is what I'm extremely excited to read. I do have a proof copy of it, so I'm going to read it as soon as possible. But yeah, it just looks fantastic, and I think Ross has a really great way of writing these magical stories. If The Midnight Guardians was anything to go by, I think it's going to be really imaginative, fun, magical, timeless. It's going to be fantastic. Also out on November 4th is Sisters of the Lost Marsh by Lucy Strange. And Lucy Strange wrote Ghost of Goswater, which I absolutely loved last year as well. This one is set on a poor farm surrounded by marshlands. 6 sisters, Grace, Willa, Freya, and triplets Dee, Darcy, and Dolly, live in fear of their father. Their beloved grandmother tries to protect them, but the future seems bleak. When the full moon Feyre makes a rare visit to Hollow in the Marsh, the girls step out to see the famous Shadow Man, an enigmatic puppeteer. Afterwards, older sister Grace is missing. Can Willa save her sister from one fate and yet outrun her own? Oh my god, it sounds awesome. I love the cover. It sounds like it's going to be a little bit dark and mysterious too, and Lucy Strange is great at writing historical fiction. I don't know how historical this one is. I do think it will be set in the past, but I think it's going to be really good. We have the Shadow Man, that sounds rather sinister. I love the names of the sisters too, Grace, Willa, Freya, Dee, Darcy, and Dolly. Like, I love it. I love it already. They already have such character, and I haven't even read it yet. Out on November 11th is Diary of a Christmas Elf by Ben Miller. Loving the fact that we're getting so many Christmassy, festive books this year. All Tog wants to do is work in Santa's workshop, and one wonderful day, the letter from Santa arrives. Tog has been selected as an apprentice elf. Making toys is a lot more technical and a lot less fun than Tog had imagined, and even though his new friend Holly tries to help him, he's quickly relegated to cleaning out the reindeer stables. But someone has been stealing the presents from the workshop, and a case of mistaken identity finds Tog accused of being the culprit. Can Tog use his special Christmas magic to discover the real thief and save all the presents before Christmas Eve is over? I love it. Like, this got me in such a Christmas mood. And it's only September. I have actually been listening to Christmas songs for the past week, so... But I'm still really excited for Halloween, of course. Like, honestly, I'd have both together. I honestly would. Out on November 16th is The Art of Running Away by Sabrina Kleckner, and this one is a middle grade contemporary with LGBTQ plus themes. So 12-year-old Maisie is an artist. When she's in front of her sketchbook or apprenticing at Glenna's Portraits, the family-run art shop, the world makes sense. She doesn't think about Callum, her brother who mysteriously left home and cut ties with her family 6 years ago, or her parents' insistence that she broaden her horizons and try something new, something that isn't art. But when Glenna's Portraits falls on hard times, Maisie's plan to take over the shop and she's older and become a lifelong artist starts to crumble. In desperation to make things right, Maisie runs away to London to reconnect with her adult brother, hoping he might be the key to saving the shop. But as Maisie learns about her family's past from Callum, she starts to rethink everything she's ever known. Maisie must decide not only if saving her family's art shop is worth it, but if she can forgive her parents for the mistakes they've made. Perfect. Also out on November 16th is The Ice House by Monica Sherwood. This one I hadn't heard about at all, and then I randomly stumbled across it and I was like, oh god, that sounds really good. So spring has arrived, and yet an unyielding winter freeze has left Louisa snowed into her apartment building for months, with parents coping with extreme stress, a little brother struggling with cabin fever, and awkwardly, her neighbour and former close friend Luke. The new realities of this climate disaster have not only affected Louisa's family, but when Luke's dad has an ice-related accident and it's unclear whether he'll recover, both families' lives are turned upside down. Desperate to find an escape from the grief plaguing their homes, Louisa and Luke build a massive snow fort in their yard. But their creation opens up an otherworldly window to what could lie ahead and sets them on a mission to restore the universe to its rightful order so the ice will melt and life will return to normal. Out on November 23rd is The Golden Hour by Nikki Smith, and this is actually a graphic novel. I hadn't really put graphic novels on these lists before, but this one does look really good. Struggling with anxiety after witnessing a harrowing instance of gun violence, Manuel Sordo copes through photography, using his cell phone camera to find anchors that keep him grounded. His days are a lonely, latchkey monotony until he's teamed with his classmates Sebastian and Keisha for a group project. Sebastian lives on a grass-fed cattle farm outside of town, and Manuel finds solace in the open fields and in the antics of the newborn calf Sebastian is hand-raising. As Manuel aids his new friends in their preparations for the local county fair, he learns to open up, confronts his deepest fears, and even finds first love. This has been categorized as both middle grade and young adult, so I don't 100% know until I've read it whether it falls into each category. However, I've decided to still include it because I'm still excited for it, and hopefully it does fall into middle grade, but even if not, there you go, there's another recommendation. Okay, next one comes out on December 7th, and it's described as One of Us is Lie meets Pretty Little Liars, but for middle grade, and that is I Know Your Secret by Daphne Benedict's Grab. And like, more middle grade crime, I'm there for it. I do kind of like murder mysteries in middle grade, so this one, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to feel about it, but I'm excited to give it a try. The email arrives Sunday night. Do exactly what I say, when I say it, or I will reveal your secret. On Monday morning, 7th graders Owen, Gemma, Ali and Todd, who have nothing in common and barely know each other, must work together and follow the instructions of an anonymous blackmailer. None of them want to go along with the blackmailer's instructions, but each of them have a secret they must protect at all costs. Set during a single day at school, the students race against the clock to compete a disquieting set of tasks with fast-paced chapters detailing each moment of the day interspersed with a later interview-style recording made by the quartet. I know your secret is an exploration of why we conceal the truth, how far we'll go to keep it hidden, and the power of being honest. Definitely very borderline young adult, but it does say one of us is lying these Pretty Little Liars for middle grade readers, so it must be middle grade. I don't know. It sounds interesting. I'm willing to give it a chance. Out on December 7th is the sequel to Girl Giant and the Monkey King called Girl Giant and the Jade War by Van Huang. And honestly, there isn't really that much coming out, from, October, November, December. Especially December, it's very lackluster on releases. I think maybe it has something to do with publishing. They don't maybe really like releasing things in December, I guess. But this one does come out then. But the first one, Girl Giant and the Monkey King, did follow Tom, who is unbelievably strong. She's keeping this as a secret from everyone else. She wants to make a deal with the Monkey King to get rid of her super strength because it embarrasses her, and the Monkey King is a bit of a trickster and she accidentally released him, and Tom agrees to get the Monkey King his magical staff back if the Monkey King can get rid of her super strength. But the sequel, Girl Giant and the Jade War, is just carrying on from that storyline, I imagine. I don't really want to read out the summary just in case it spoils things from the first one, but it does look really good, absolutely gorgeous art style on the cover too. And yeah, there just really isn't that much coming out in December, so that was pretty much all that really took my fancy and kind of caught my eye. So I'm really excited for all of those. I know this is probably a bit of a super quick one, and I know reading the summary, just the summary in general, isn't the best, but I have been criticised in the past for embellishing some summaries and not, reading a script for it. So I do apologise if you find me reading the summary out boring, but at least then you get a direct and accurate description of what the books are about, and I'd rather that than be accused of being a liar. But thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment, let me know if you're excited about any of these books in the comments. Let me know if there's any books coming out in this period that you're excited for that I might have missed, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye.